Hey YouTube, Finestra here again. Nice to see you guys all again. I thought that I would make Thursdays a segment I wanted to try on my channel called Tea with Thursdays or a Thursday rant, or at least some time during the week. I haven't quite figured it out. So I just have a mini rant today. Not necessarily a rant, just a topic of conversation. And that would be stop making yourself a victim when you need not be. Just listen. And this kind of came across when I've been seeing hashtags of not all men, not all people, not all, maybe not all white people are like this, not all white people are racist, not all women do this, or not, etc. I even had this in my everyday life, like Sunday, for example. My church had a church meeting. The church meeting, we have it quarterly. It's not a big church, so we had like a potluck, a meeting, and just like a general talk. It was good times, good days spent most of Sunday at church. And at one point in the meeting, someone brought up about distractions in church during service, or how people, they were kind of focused on teenagers being on their cell phones during church, and they were talking about how people are texting and basically getting them to use them in XYZ. So one person raises their hand and says, well, not me, I use my cell phone for the Bible. And okay, that's fine, but did you need to say anything when they're clearly not talking about you? And that's my issue. When no one's talking about you, there's no need for you to comment. Like, you know that you're using your Bible on your cell phone, you're not texting. I do the same thing, but there was no point of me commenting on that. Or when there is something, like I follow on Tumblr, that somebody will write something about, well, white people, or somebody did something racist, and then somebody will put out, then not all white people. Or try to police when somebody says something like, black women are beautiful. It's like, don't you mean all women? Like, stop. This doesn't have nothing to do with you. Don't insert yourself. Don't set yourself up to get talked bad to. And then you want to be the first person to stand around and cry. Well, I am fully aware that not all white people are racist. Not all black people are prejudiced. Not all black people do XYZ. Not all Asian people, etc. do whatever. But if this is not you, there's no point of you inserting yourself into a comment then to get your feelings hurt. And my thing with, especially in the issue of race, you are so quick to kind of set yourself apart that you don't necessarily want to address the behavior or something that you could fix. It's just like, you can change your way of thinking. And just like with racism, you may not necessarily be consciously being a racist, but it doesn't mean that with your privilege you're not benefiting from being white, or that racism is a system. So, or that you're not benefiting from that system. It is set up for you if you're white. And now everyone wants to kind of pick apart, like, yeah, well, I'm middle class, I still had to do this, I still had to do that. No one's saying that you're not working hard. But the same thing, they don't look at you a certain way if you are white. Like, there has to be a ton of questions, I feel like, for minorities. Like, just a lot of things that people say to minorities is that you wouldn't necessarily say to a white person. Like, even with getting into schools, they'll be like, oh, you got in on a minority scholarship, or you got in because of affirmative action. Now, that may be the case, but it's not like I don't have to keep up my grades. I don't have to do the same amount of work to stay in the institution. Like, they try to bring this up with President Obama. Well, he just got into Harvard because he's black. Yeah, maybe. But you don't become the president of your law review from not doing hard work. That's the whole thing. You don't get in and stay in and to graduate without doing hard work. So why is it automatically assumed that you don't have to do any hard work. People act like you just put your picture in your college application and that's how you got into school, which, I mean, they got to meet quotas. And the reason that affirmative action exists in the first place is because I'm not given necessarily the same opportunities based on something that has something completely to do with my academic standing. You're not just looking at me because I meet all of the other points. You see that I'm black and you might not necessarily let me in. Messed up, but that's why the system is in place for you to get in. And with kids that do get that kind of thing, you got to get in where you fit in. That's just like, I'm not upset when a white person will get a scholarship to, say, like a HBCU, because they are technically a minority at the HBCU. I don't feel no kind of way, but I don't think that you should get exceptions beyond that. And it's not like you're not going to have to do work to stay into that school either. It's not a less of an institution because it is predominantly black. You do have to look at the situations of why it was even created in the first place. It's so that black people could get their education, because you weren't letting me into, say, white schools. And even though things are legally desegregated, there's still a lot of segregation and gentrification that happens on a day-to-day basis that ain't got nothing to do with anything besides a person being minority. So that's my thing. Or you'll be like, so that's my thing about you. You not being all that. So don't set yourself up to be a victim. I think you need to take a moment to listen and see what other people's issues, because there is a reason. Like, I don't like to throw out that a person is racist or a person is sexist really easily, because and I don't like holler at a lot of men that they're being sexist or or racist or misogynist, because I feel like, truth be told, there's a lot of women that are misogynist as well. So I don't just throw it out. I have reason. But if you're not trying to hear me, you just want to yell out, well, I'm not like that and not all men are like that. If I'm talking about a particular issue and all of the people maybe making that comment happen to be men, I'll be like, well, all these men are misogynist. You'd be like, well, I'm not like that. Well, just say, if you knew the other person, don't you think that's a conversation you need to have between your male self to rectify? You're just trying to, like, you shouldn't be so offended that I'm calling you a misogynist rather than trying to correct the behavior. So that's all I'm saying. Be worried more about the behavior, or why, or when somebody that's in an oppressed group will tell you something, it's not you should listen to them as to see why they feel that way. Because a lot of people, like, they're not just calling you out because to say you're sexist or you're racist just because, for their just to be talking. Now, there are some people like that. Like, I don't think, but for the most part, it's not everybody. I'm sorry this rain is all over the place. I'm just doing it off the top of my head. It's just something I was kind of thinking of, and it's kind of been on my spirit for a couple of days. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think you just need to have a conversation. You need to listen to others. Don't set yourself up to be a victim. Stop making yourself a victim of something when you're not. If you don't participate in it, just say, okay. No, don't say anything at all. Don't say okay. Just listen to the reasons why. Like when somebody says, well, they'll say something where, like, white people hate black people, or because of XYZ situation in your neighborhood, this is why, all I know is that white people treat black people like this. So instead of you being like, well, not all white people, next time just ask like, why, what exactly happened, and let's have a conversation. Because people are not pulling stuff out of their butt when they feel oppressed. So don't victim blame, and don't make yourself a victim. Like, the least thing that somebody can say about you is not the most terrible thing that somebody says that you're racist. But when I'm on the receiving end on what I think is racism, and that's why I say I don't think a lot of people are consciously racist. There are a lot of people that are, but for the most part, and this is such an ingrained system that you may not necessarily realize that you're doing it, or something that would be deemed as not necessarily racist to you. I would feel that way, that it was. So it might not be that you mean any offense, but you do just kind of have to watch what you say, and don't feel no kind of way because I take an issue with it. So especially if we are friends and on friendly terms. So if I am saying that I don't appreciate what you said, just like I'll give you an example. You're pretty for a black girl. That's not a compliment. And then I could say that, that's racist for you to say that. What are you saying? Or that you have just suggested that black women are not pretty. Or they ask you, like, what do you mix with? That's in the same vein, or you're pretty for a black girl. This, that. No, I'm regular pretty. But if you're going to say that I'm white, like, you messed up the compliment by saying you're pretty for a black girl. So that would then mean, why don't you think black girls are pretty? And if you go on, you're going to go on about this Eurocentric version of beauty. See, like that's racist. Really? And that you made a general statement that basically you're saying by giving me that compliment, all other black women are ugly, or the majority of black women are ugly. That's racist. Or you say you don't prefer something because and this can even happen even in the race. It's like I hear particularly young black dudes that that all black women are this way. Well, you date the same kind of woman all the time. And it's not like I'm trying to shame her. I'm not going to get into that thing by calling other people ratchet. Because, yeah, there's ratchet people. There's a lot of people that got themselves together. But everybody is worthy of respect. So, for you to say that when you turn around and you date the same kind of woman, that says more about you. You're recycling people. Or that's actually the definition of insanity. Is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So there's nothing wrong with her, and then you associate certain behaviors with, say, because somebody is dark skinned. That's stupid. Like, all dark skinned girls mad. Really? Or maybe you say something offensive every time you're around someone that has darker skin than you, or not even than what you would deem to be closest to white. That's what I kind of look at it is. You're kind of racially ambiguous. Which, I mean, you don't have to be mixed or anything like that to be kind of racially ambiguous. But it's going to hurt more coming from somebody else within your own race. So, just be mindful of what you say. That's pretty much my rant for today. Sorry if this is kind of going all over the place. And I hit like a couple of topics that I didn't really mean to go to. Just kind of tell me, you guys, if you like it. I think I have one for my next video. It's going to be about our problematic phase. Everybody has a problematic phase. So, that's my 2 cents for the day. And bye, guys.